anxiety.
With, the ex, I would literally be shaking, putting my key in the door.
In teenage years, I started to have really bad panic attacks and anxiety.
Wow.
Oh, it got really, really bad.
Oh, women are twice as likely to have an anxiety disorder than men.
I'm just wondering when it's gonna start hitting men as well.
We live in a patriarchal society, so it's hard for women.
Women often get diagnosed late.
I mean, the first doctor I went to, he said it was just PMS. What's the biggest trigger for your anxiety with motherhood?
Really, really dark thoughts, like, what if I die?
Okay,
it's
then,
fine.
yeah. Too much anxiety is bad, but too little anxiety, you're just insufferable.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
If gone untreated, it can cause later health problems.
Especially in the heart.
Not just heart, but brain damage, dementia, Alzheimer's, and just rapid aging. Keep safe, folks.
Yeah, keep safe out there.
Don't overthinking, just download the Period Diary app and start.
Women are the strongest.
We are. We are.
We are. And welcome to this wonderful episode of Bellabeat Talks Wellness. We did it again.
Again.
I love that. We're
Twice
so
in a row.
We did. Welcome everybody, and welcome to this awesome episode. Well, it is going to be awesome. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. We have a really special topic for you today, and I think it's something that we all can identify with.
Or most of us.
Most of us, yeah. Women especially.
Yes.
And
the topic is anxiety.
Anxiety, yeah. What is it? Is it real? No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that again.
It's very real.
It's very freaking real.
And I think we can do it again, hands up who has ever suffered from anxiety. Mm-hmm. A lot of us.
Yeah.
And women twice as much as men.
That's true.
Interestingly.
Yeah. Women are twice as likely to have an anxiety disorder than men. Yeah.
Exactly.
And not only that, but people of color and LGBTQIA+.
Even more.
Even more. And that's
yes.
Yeah, higher.
And it's not strange because anxiety is often linked to trauma and past experiences. Women do suffer trauma much more than men. It can also be linked to unrealized expectations or internalized too high expectations, which women also suffer from more than men.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to aligning all of our desires. Things like career and motherhood and relationships and, how to have it all. Things like that.
That's hard.
Hit women more than men.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I'm just wondering when it's going to start hitting men as well.
Well, they say God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers.
Sure.
So women are the strongest.
We are. We are.
We are.
So we still can have it all, but often it comes at a high price. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But then we're going to mostly focus on anxiety, which stems from unregulated routines, wellness routines. Mm-hmm. So basically not taking care of yourself properly.
And how that can turn into
Because that's
anxiety.
where we can help the most.
Hey.
With the rest of the ones, we can only give advice. But with this one, we can actually give actionable guidance.
Absolutely. And I think that's great. So if you have anxiety, if you've been, diagnosed with anxiety, you have anxious spells, you have panic attacks, this episode is definitely for you because we're going to come in and give some great tips as well on what you can do.
Yeah. It comes in many shapes and forms, actually, anxiety.
Yeah, and symptoms, yeah.
Yes. Most common ones, insomnia, bad appetite, or overeating. So binge eating often connected to eating disorders as well. Then obviously perspiration, heart palpitations, or just heightened heart rate, stress depletion. So basically when you really feel burnt out and overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And then, the worst one is just when everything comes crashing down and we're unable to do our daily chores, connect to ourselves or loved ones. So that's when it really starts affecting our life in everyday things, but then also our careers. It just comes in many colors and shapes and forms.
And it sort of snowballs. And
it often progresses if left untreated, if nothing is done about it. then yes, it can progressively get worse. It also depends on external factors, things like your work, things like your family, your relationships, but then also your own expectations or desires.
Your internal self, yeah.
Internal self. Yeah, so how hard you are on yourself. So all of this like kind of combine in unexpected ways with variety of outcomes. But yeah, have you ever suffered from anxiety?
I've never suffered from anxiety. Wow, only my entire teenhood. So, no, I do suffer from anxiety. I'm actually diagnosed with GAD, general anxiety disorder.
Very nice.
And so, thank you, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Mom.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Tell me more about it.
It's so in. No, but basically I get anxious, and for me, it's, I wouldn't say it was trauma or anything, but it's internal. It's internal to me, and it's my projection of how I feel the outside world is like impacting me. And so it's always in my head. And sometimes, I'll have an anxiety, or I used to, I'm treated now. So it's a lot better. And I go through, and thank God for freaking Period Diary app, because there's things that I can use in there as well to help me with my anxiety when I do feel like really anxious and overwhelmed. Yeah, it's self-soothing. But anxiety is hard. Anxiety sucks. You have some people that are just like, just don't think about it.
Yeah. Just get over it.
Just get over it. Calm down.
Calm down. My mother's favorite go-to advice.
Honestly,
calm down.
No, nobody says that without wanting to get a rise from somebody. Like, you cannot say that in the truth, like,
no, she fully
genuinely
means it.
No.
Like, don't think about it.
Just calm down.
Okay, Zen master.
Yeah.
Okay. Teach me how.
So easy. No worries. Yeah. But, that's anxiety. It's just not fun. It's not fun. It's hard to diagnose. I don't know. It's not.
And women often get diagnosed late because we're just naturally panicky and hysterical.
Well, when I went to my first doctor, he was like, it's just PMS.
Obviously, that was sarcasm.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, for those who don't see the picture, I was being sarcastic. We're not all of those things. We just have anxiety, and it's being untreated and undiagnosed.
But sometimes they just blame it on weight. They blame it on your cycle, your hormones. Yeah. The first doctor I went to, he said it was just PMS. And I said, you don't PMS for 28 days of the month.
Exactly.
There's something here. There's something not right.
And also PMS is not anxiety. It's not the same.
Exactly.
It's absolutely not the same.
Yeah.
It can have similar symptoms.
You can get anxiety in PMS, but PMS is not anxiety.
Exactly.
So yeah. Have you ever had anxiety? I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine as a mother, yeah. And a co-founder of a company.
Also in teenage years, I started to have really bad panic attacks and anxiety, which led to insomnia and straight up hallucinations. So it got really, really bad.
Oh, wow.
I got treated for it as well. And interestingly, that was, I don't want to say, but almost 20 years ago.
She said almost 20 years ago, in case you didn't catch that.
20 years ago. So I had this psychiatrist, and he put me on. So he did kind of shallow hypnosis therapy, which later I learned was just guided meditations. Yes, he would, when I was in sessions, he would do the guided meditation with me, and then he would, send me home with a CD with guided meditations that I would listen to before falling asleep. And it worked great. It was like magic. And this is where I actually learned first about guided meditations. Then, later that knowledge spilled over in Bellabeat and, developing Period Diary and the guided meditations that we have now.
The guided meditations,
yep. Now we know about a lot more techniques that you can use, like binaural beats or just calming music, natural sounds, breathing exercises, really, really good. But, guided meditations for me worked wonders. But, obviously with anxiety, I guess some people are more prone to it than others, especially as overachievers.
And there's
women a lot of times are overachievers.
Yeah, but it's also a genetic factor to it as well.
Genetic factor as well, but just also kind of like our, I guess, like, you know, how we were raised, and then so it's a combination of genetics and, you know, nature and nurture.
Nature and nurture, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We live in a patriarchal society,
Exactly.
I'm going to say it, and so it's hard for women, like if
Definitely, from the get-go. So it's just like it takes a lot of maintenance, because whenever you're not doing maintenance, it starts flaring up, at least for me. You know, I am an overachiever. I do have really high expectations for myself, and just like I internalize that really, really strongly. Also, like how people see me and how I think like I should, you know, be perceived. And it's just like, sometimes I'm just like, whoa, like you're putting too much on yourself, but I cannot help it. So it just takes a lot of maintenance with things that I do in my daily routine to keep it down.
What maintenance are you talking about? Because that was really interesting.
Oh, so like a combination of things. Oh, let me tell you about it.
Strap in, people.
But it's going to be, again, the same thing that I repeat all the time, like a really strong, clear daily wellness routine, workout, nutrition, and sleep. But here I feel like the workout and nutrition are even more important. Workout for me is super important, not just because like it gives me a daily release of energy and focus, and just you know, I also love to work out with our Bellabeat coach, because it just guides you throughout the workout. So this is like 1 hour per day where I don't have to think about anything, and
there's no mental load to
somebody else tells me what to do. There is no mental load, and it's a combination of physical activity and meditation. But then also, you know, what comes out of it is obviously as you work out, you become stronger and more physically prepared, and that physical confidence is magic, especially I think for women. Like feeling strong, feeling capable, feeling fit.
Feeling good in your own body.
Feeling good in your own body, but not just, you know, appearance, but like I could take somebody down if I wanted. Like that kind of confidence, you know, when you go through your day.
You're like, come at me, come at me.
Magic. Like your stance changes, your attitude towards other people changes, your posture. It's literally, I mean, you're tricking your mind with physical
activity
components. And it works magic. And then sleep, obviously, because when we're sleep deprived, it's just, you know, our brain doesn't work well. You know, our chemistry is out of balance. So it's just that is a fertile ground for any mental, you know, condition and illness. So obviously with anxiety as well. So those two for me are the biggest ones. So for sleep, whenever I have trouble with falling asleep, obviously diet is a big component, because how we eat influences our sleep and can prevent us from falling asleep or maintaining our REM and deep sleep and so forth. So obviously, like if you feel heavy, bloated before falling asleep and things like that. But then also meditation. So I still practice guided meditations before falling asleep, and it just sets the tone for your dreams, obviously. So instead of falling asleep with your
own thoughts
of like, you know, spiraling and overthinking and, you know, what do I have to do the next day, or what did I do this day, or oh my God, I'm worried about this. You set up a new background, which is calming and gentle and stimulating sometimes as well. Like it sets you up for a new perspective during your dreams, and then sets you up for the next day, basically.
So
absolutely. I feel like those two things are the most important things that
they go hand in hand.
Yes, but yeah, mostly the feeling that I can kick somebody's ass.
That's the number one, Like, that's the best anxiety reducer.
It makes me less anxious for sure. Just like, If I don't want to, but if I wanted to.
If she wanted to,
I could.
She could. Yeah.
I would and I could.
Actually, I believe it. You're pretty scrappy, so I'm not gonna lie. But I noticed, like, right before bed, that's whenever I'm thinking in my mind is just going. But that's why I love our binaural beats so much as well, because I just put in my headphones and I listen to it and I sort of try to imagine the different waves, the different wavelengths that are happening, and I focus on that. And because I'm focusing on that, I'm taking my mind away from the voices that I'm hearing and the overthinking, and I'm basically distracting my mind with something else. Yeah. And I can hear it, and it's really calming. It's a really great experience just to do that. Like, especially when I'm feeling just fidgety and, you're just overstimulated, and I don't even drink that much coffee after noon, so it's not the caffeine. It means I don't have 7 cups of coffee, but because caffeine can actually lead to anxiety. So, and I've definitely had
any stimulants.
Caffeine. Yeah, I've definitely had caffeine-induced anxiety before.
Alcohol as well.
Alcohol. Ooh, let's talk about the hangxiety.
Yeah.
Hangxiety is bad.
It's bad.
That is, that makes me not want to drink.
Yeah, definitely. Like, for people who are suffering from anxiety, it's advised to stay away from caffeine. Like, if you cannot stay totally away from caffeine, I understand. But, like, excessive amounts of caffeine, and then alcohol is a big one.
Yeah.
Drugs, obviously, as well.
Drugs, yeah. But okay.
Let's pretend we don't do drugs here at all.
We don't.
Like, I meant, like, a wider audience.
Do with that information what you will. But we love our wine. We are women that love our wine.
Obviously, here in Europe, it's really hard to say no to a glass of really nice Mediterranean wine. I mean, I'm gonna admit that, and I'm always for everything in moderation. Like, that's also one thing that I say in every episode.
Yes. In every episode, you have like 2 things that you repeat.
Yes, we could just like record them in advance and just like me going through the workout, sleep, nutrition,
just stitch it together,
and everything in moderation, and then like you can just use these sound bites to create a full episode every time. I think a lot of people in the industry, doctors and wellness practitioners, now recommend total abstinence from alcohol.
They do, yeah. Assholes.
But we know that for a lot of people that's hard.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not gonna say like, that really sounds like I'm an addict. I'm not, but we cannot pretend that wine is not, or alcohol in general is not part of a lot of
it's cultural
cultures. Yes. Yeah. Food cultures.
Yeah.
So basically have certain foods and wine combined together. It's a big part of, where I'm from. It's really hard to get away. So it's nonsense to say like completely abstinent, because we're not going to abstinate all the time, probably. So moderation is key. But yes, alcohol can be a big trigger for people with anxiety. So people with anxiety have to especially be careful about it and do everything else in preventive measures before, they decide to have maybe a glass of wine. Or if they really see that this is not working, they have a really bad anxiety, then really maybe stay away from it.
Stay away from it, yeah. I mean, that's my thing. Like, I just drink on occasions now, kind of. But really, I try to just stick to occasions because I do, because I have anxiety. Like, I do have really bad hangxiety.
Yeah.
And so I wake up the next day and
Me as well.
I'm sweating, I'm overthinking, I'm going through my phone. Like, and I don't even, like, I could have like 3 glasses of wine, or 2 glasses, and I'm still, it affects me that much. And I know it's because I don't drink water in between my glasses of wine, which would help immensely.
Yeah, so you're dehydrated.
Exactly. I'm not maybe eating as much, because I go for a glass of wine after work.
Nutrients are depleted.
Exactly. And then of course alcohol disrupts your sleep.
Yes.
So I'm not sleeping well.
As well.
And your hormones as well. So it's just a recipe for disaster, especially for me.
I used to have really bad anxiety in my 20s.
Yeah.
Obviously we all drank more in our 20s, but it was also that my preventive routine wasn't as strong. So now I see that I don't get it as much because I'm rock solid most of the time.
I love that energy.
Most of the time.
Yes, yes.
Not always, but most of the time. And I work hard for it. So that's why I'm not like, I don't shy from saying it because I work my ass off for it.
You do. You do. I mean, the only reason I know is because her Instagram. She shows it off. But, but I mean, I would show off that work too. Come on. Like, you are busting your ass. And it shows. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when it comes to anxiety, it's a little bit harder to, you can have the wellness routine, but sometimes anxiety just comes from out of nowhere. Yeah. And so there are some tools that you can have and that we'll share with you that can help with that.
Or stems from trauma that is not treated.
Exactly.
Or things that we have to, dig for. There are underlying reasons, so you can physically prepare yourself, but still, if that reason is still kind of like in the back of your mind,
you could easily be triggered.
It keeps on triggering you. So it's really important, the personal growth part as well.
Mm-hmm. Go to therapy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's big.
So just trying to dig for what are the triggers, what are the real reasons for it. Mm-hmm. Often for women, it's the how to have it all thing, which is super internalized. Sometimes we're not even aware that it's triggering us because on one hand, we are scared by it, by society, like telling us we are not able to have it. And then on the other hand, we are kind of lied to that it's easy to have it all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like those two conflicting things. And on one hand, you're like, yes, I can have it all.
I can have it all.
I can have it all. And then on the other hand, you are, why are you lying?
Yeah,
like, this is not easy.
I cannot
this is
have it all.
super hard. Yeah, I cannot have it all.
Yeah.
At least like not in a setup that was sold to me or that I thought was going to be.
Exactly that. It is very, very different than what is being sold. The picture does not describe the story.
Does not match.
Yeah. The journey is very different.
Because of the lack of the 50-50 mostly. Mm-hmm. Because I think we have very different perceptions of the women and men have different perceptions of what 50-50 means.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that, all of my partners and all of my best friends and their partners, we all go through it and we all like 50-50. And, I think it really just goes over the head of a lot of men.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have to say I have a great partner that really, lives his part of the weight, and it's still hard.
Yeah.
And it's still super hard. Like, 50-50 means in life in general, you cannot separate everything 50-50, like finance 50-50, childcare 50-50, cleaning 50-50. You take, as I see it, a bulk, everything together, and then you divide it, 50-50, whatever each of you can do, and
based on what you're good at and what you enjoy.
Based on what you're good at, and also the situation you're in, that might change. It's for me, I think it's a fluid situation. So roles might be changing day to day, but sometimes year to year, or a decade by decade. Mm-hmm. So it's very different for pairs, but this is what partnerships are, should be. This is what a partner should be, there to work it out with you.
Yeah.
And it's still hard.
And and a lot of anxiety can come from that, from your partner not coming, not being there for you, because then it's just, again, that mental load of it all, and you're doing it all, you're thinking about it all, and it's too much for you, and you can really get into a loop of just negative thinking and negative. Yeah. It's hard.
And even though overthinking your relationships might be anxiety triggering by itself, it is worth thinking out your relationship before you make major steps.
Yeah,
so do that overthinking before, sacrifice a couple of months before you do any major steps, because then if you do a wrong decision at a certain point, you're going to be overthinking a lot and suffering a lot later in life in a partnership that is not partnership.
Something else that helps me with my overthinking, and we also have it in the app, is our guided affirmations.
Yes.
And we have a really good one for anxiety that I use. Basically, affirmations, these are you're kind of rewiring your brain in a sense, and you're just taking over, you're consciously saying things that are positive. Mm-hmm. And so you're repeating them, and so your brain starts to believe it, your body starts to believe it, and it really helps you overcome the anxiety. And so one of the things is I am not my anxiety.
Yeah.
And I say that I am not my anxiety. I am not my anxiety. And it helps me. It feels good, and it keeps my mind busy and focused on something that isn't what was triggering me.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
And again, like, I think the important part there is the confidence building, because you often have to stand your ground in your life, and especially in relationship, you have to set up your boundaries and expectations and be very clear about them.
Yeah.
And, you know, set up a frame that works for you. So you cannot do that if you don't have confidence to do that. Because if you don't have confidence to do that, you're just gonna, you know, accept whatever is thrown at you. You're gonna think that
you're gonna get rolled over.
Exactly. You're gonna get rolled over by the other person, or, you know, multiple people in your life. So confidence building, again, super important. And that's like the physical work and the mental work.
Exactly. But you're going back to that. And a good sleep.
And a good sleep. Obviously, that's the deal sealer. Yeah, you cannot do anything without good sleep.
Absolutely. Anything.
So children are hard.
What's, if I can ask you this, it's not too personal. What's your biggest anxiety? You know, what's the biggest trigger for your anxiety with motherhood?
With motherhood?
Yeah.
I think right now is keeping my toddler alive. Because it's just like, right now we call him like natural disaster, calamity, because like all the time, it's 24/7, every second he's just trying to do something very dangerous. Like he's trying to find ways to hurt himself or others. So that's a really big part of my anxiety. The other night I could not fall asleep because I was thinking about all the ways I need to secure our windows in the apartment, so he doesn't like walk out through them.
So he doesn't like open them and
we're at that stage. But then obviously a big part is just like the well-being of my child in long term. Like, am I gonna be here? Like, how to make sure that I am here in health and everything, and that I'm also able to support him financially. And it's a huge burden. The first 3 months when I had the baby, well, the first like 2 weeks were super hard because I just fell into this spiral of really, really dark thoughts. Like, what if I die? Or, what if everything falls apart? Like, where are we going to live? What are we going to do? And it's just like the feeling of responsibility. I don't think I had like postnatal depression, but I did have postnatal anxiety for sure.
Okay.
Because it was just overwhelming feeling of that responsibility and what it means and how anxious I feel about it. It was really triggering. But then it kind of like went away, especially when I saw how good my partner is with the baby. So I was like, okay, if I die, he's gonna be okay with him.
That's awesome. That's okay then.
Fine. No, just kidding. But I mean, I'm kidding, but those are serious thoughts that most of parents have.
No, you're absolutely right.
You bring this life into the world and you're responsible for it, and you want the best for that child. And obviously those things can be super anxiety inducing. But then also when it comes to work, obviously I'm constantly questioning, how am I balancing everything? Is it okay? Am I doing too little at work? Am I a bad mom? Or, like how to balance it all out. But again, for me, the biggest support that I have is in my partner. I'm really lucky in that. Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
But I thought long and hard about it. It wasn't an overnight decision. So that really, without that, I think like this is what also triggers me when I hear men talking about their professional success. Like they rarely mention that their professional success is oftentimes supported or just really conditioned by their partner's support in life, in other areas of life.
Yeah. Well, they say behind every successful man is a very strong and more successful woman.
Yes. So I think, again, this is what partnership is. Like, you have to really evaluate things that are important for it, strengths of each partner, willingness to do certain things, and then just divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Partners, that can also be anxiety inducing though. But what's kind of interesting for me is my partner actually, like, I get anxious sometimes. And then when I see him, because he's so safe, I lose that anxiety. And when I see him, it kind of reminds me to do a little bit, like just, it reminds me, oh, I need to breathe better. And I start doing the box breathing. And so it's basically you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold, and then you just kind of repeat this. And when I see him, I just remember to breathe and to do my breathing exercises, which we have this breathing exercise in the app.
With the visual cues
With
as
the
well.
visual cues, and it is great. It helps so much. All of those breathing exercises, 4, 7, 8, the balanced breath, just all of those are really great
We also
for
have
anxiety.
the breathing exercises with Julia,
Oh, that's right, yeah.
our wonderful yoga
They
instructor.
are. And she has a
Those
really
are
good
super nice
empowering
as well.
one. She has a really good empowering one that's really great. But yeah, like your partner, I can say that, one of my exes, he used to trigger my anxiety, and because deep down, I knew like something wasn't right, something wasn't, fitting. And that was how my body was responding.
Yeah.
And it was like basically my internal self, my subconscious self was coming through and saying like,
Rejecting him.
it was raising the alarms. Yeah. Because, anxiety, as bad as it is, it's actually kind of something that we have been, that's, it's part of our evolution, and it's actually something that our ancestors used to use as a way to like kind of guide themselves and to guide their, their lives. Because
to evaluate situations.
To evaluate situations, because too much anxiety is bad, but too little anxiety, you're just insufferable.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but
how are you so calm?
Yeah, they're insufferable. And so, but because of society, because of how things have changed, the anxiety has evolved with it. And now instead of we don't necessarily need it anymore. Except for some
or it's
things.
getting triggered in situations that are not as serious.
Exactly. There is
Just
not a
perceive
lion
them.
chasing me.
Yeah.
I just need to go into the grocery store and buy milk.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's.
But what is really funny I've read is that, not funny, but interesting, is that with people that we feel safe with, we often feel sleepy.
Yes, I am sleepy around my partner all the time. All the time.
That can interfere with your sex life, actually.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because if you come home and you feel safe at home and with your partner, the normal response is your nervous system starts calming down, and because we are so overstimulated most of the day, that reflects in us feeling sleepy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm just overstimulated all day, every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's fine.
And then when you come home, if you feel safe,
I do.
I hope you do. And
I crash.
With your partner, you crash.
I crash all the time.
You just fall asleep. Yeah. For me, the same.
That's
as well.
crazy. Yeah. And that's, it's just your body. It's just saying okay, this is a safe space. Nothing is chasing us. Nothing is hurting us. Nothing needs us. And we can relax.
Yeah. So hopefully you're not constantly in a state of fight or flight.
Panic. Yeah.
Yeah. That could be also a good rule of thumb to evaluate your relationship.
Absolutely.
How do you feel when you come home? Do you feel the same as before? Do you feel more triggered?
Do you feel excited to go home to that
Or
person?
Do you feel excited? And do you feel safe and calm and just you start to unwind the minute you walk through that door?
Yeah. With the ex, I would literally be shaking, putting my key in the door. I knew, and I just couldn't admit it to myself.
But we always persevere for so long before we do anything about it. Baby, don't do that.
The dog is drinking from her water glass again. She does this every time. Oh, Zoe.
But try to keep yourself away from triggers. Yeah, if we summarize.
Yeah, let's summarize.
If we summarize, try to keep yourself away from triggers as much as you can.
Or be aware of those triggers and understand where they're coming from, and that, you can control your reaction to it.
Or that you can start healing those deep down reasons and triggers. Try to build a really strong wellness routine that works for you, that, is going to start bringing you results that are in the field of physical and mental. And then lastly, but the most importantly, get good night's sleep.
Sleep.
Get enough
sleep.
Get enough sleep.
Yeah.
If you are struggling with all of those factors, The first one is on you. you have to evaluate your own life and situations in it. The second one, see a therapist. Try to dig out all of those reasons. But all of the rest of the ones, download Period Diary app. We can help you with that. We can help you create your wellness routine that is adjusted to your specific needs and your natural cycle. So we help support your health on different levels and in all of those different areas of physical activity, nutrition, mental health, and sleep. So really give it a try. I think it's worth it. And the proof is so many
in the pudding. Yeah.
In the pudding, so many happy users.
Yeah.
And us personally as well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, how could you not want to use it? It was made by somebody that like has anxiety and that suffers from anxiety. So we want to help you with it.
It's like neck deep in anxiety.
And so everything, it's tested and it's proved that to help.
Created by women for women.
Created by women for women. That's the biggest thing. So we understand really
So give it a try. I think anxiety is definitely something that you should actively manage and go about curing or maintaining at least at a level that does not interfere with your daily life.
Yeah.
Super important thing, especially for women. Super important factor in our health and longevity, because if gone untreated, it can cause later health problems.
Especially in the heart.
Not just heart, but brain damage. It causes brain damage, dementia, Alzheimer's, and just rapid aging.
Jeez.
So keep safe, folks.
Yeah, keep safe out there. Yeah.
Keep safe out there. Scary life.
It's scary out there.
No, don't overthink it.
Yeah. Don't overthink it, yeah. We're trying to help you with anxiety and we're just giving you anxiety.
Don't overthinking. Just download the Period Diary app and start.
Yep, there you go.
You're going to be good.
And on that note, I'm gonna call it an episode, because that's it. That's all we need.
Yes. Thank you so much for your patience, and don't forget to follow us on all major podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, but also on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Facebook is also great because we have several Facebook groups there where you can interact with other Period Diary and Bellabeat users and just the whole universe of employees and
women women, like-minded women,
and products as well. So great place to get advice and also share your thoughts and suggestions for topics for next episodes. We love to hear from you so much.
It's my favorite.
And it's just fun to chat with other women.
It is
Women are fun.
I'm a girl's girl. Yep.
Yes.
Love it. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Bye.